What is going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk and more. My name is Patrick Moran. Thank you so much, as always, for watching, for listening, however you are consuming this podcast. Appreciate you guys very, very much. Quick shout out to the sponsor for today's show, the law office of William Mattar. Heard in a car, call William Mattar, 444-4444. Call William Mattar today to get the compensation that you deserve. Monday podcast, Sunday live shortly after 9 p.m. on the video side. We're going to be talking Buffalo Bills free agency. We kind of preview things a little bit, react to some significant moves that the Bills have made over the past few days. Before that, though, we're literally coming out live, all right? Let me kind of paint a real quick picture. Joe from Queens, of course, is with me. Get to him in a second. So I went around Sunday night, around 6:30. I go to Dick's Sporting Goods, and I'm going on a vacation later this week to Florida, and it's going to be hot out. And I realized I need to get some, like, ankle socks, like some of those no-show socks. So I go to Dick's to get some, walk right in. First thing I notice, which never happens, I'm telling you, it's been years since this has been the case. No matter what time of year it is, you never see Sabres shit predominant in the front of the store, ever. It never happens. I walk in, bam, Sabres shit all over the place. I was like, you know what? I got plenty of Bills hats and Bills gear, although I usually don't wear stuff like that on the show. I said, I don't have a Sabres hat. I said, I got to get me a Sabres hat. They're playing well. I can, one of the nights in Florida when I go out, I got a Sabres t-shirt. I'll rock the hat. I'll throw a nice little combo out there. I put it on. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get this. Did I know at the time that a couple hours later I would be live here with Joe from Queens, standing or sitting before you all with a big mic in front of my mouth and telling you this may have been the best Sabres hockey game that I have ever watched in my life. Now, I know there's been playoff games. I know the Brad May goal. I know there's been bigger moments, maybe because the Sabres have scored overtime goals in the playoffs. But in terms of hockey games, dude, that was sick. I cannot believe what I just saw. The Buffalo Sabres, 8-7 over Tampa Bay. 5 fights in the first 21 minutes of the game. Sabres are up 4-1. UPL starts shitting the bed. I'm like, all right, this team's won 6 in a row. It was due to happen, a letdown. Tampa gets up 7-5. Sabres score. They score again to tie it, and then they score again to take the lead, and they hold on, and they win in regulation. As we record this, the Sabres are the best team right now in the division. We're going to get to some Bills, but dude, I'm sorry. I'm blabbing. I can't help myself, bro. That was fucking incredible what we just watched. I'm not speechless because I'm still talking, but holy shit, dude. Oh, what's up?
Yeah, that was I've never done cocaine in my life, but I assume that's what that game was cocaine, because it just had its ups and downs. And it's funny, like, before we talked, and Pat put the chat on so I can read it. It's funny because during the day, like when the morning hit, and you and I talk about what topics are we going to run, and you wanted to do hockey later. I was like, no, we got to do hockey like in the forefront, because it's the first. It's well, look, I'll give you some credit. I get it. Like, you weren't really, our audience is mostly football people. Fine. I was like, well, we should just touch on it in the beginning, just talk a little bit about the game, and and we'll go from there. And then
I told you to fuck off, basically, without saying.
Yeah, you
fuck
did.
off.
You did tell me to F off, and I was like, all right, dude, fine. But then tonight, it's 70 degrees in New York. And I know it's nice where you guys are too. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take Andy out to the playground, and I'm going to miss the first period probably. And so what I'll do is, whatever. I'll miss the first period. I'll come back. I have my alerts at the playground. I see we're up 1-0. And I'm like, okay, 1-0 sounds good. And then all of a sudden, my phone starts blowing up on like 3 different Buffalo text threads. Like, this game is crack. This game is, why are there 5 guys in the penalty box? And I'm like, what the hell just happened? And I'm like, well, you know what? After this, I'm going to watch from the beginning when I get home, and I'll just forward to the commercials. And I had no idea, like, it was going to be like, it was, because I wasn't looking at social media. I didn't know the beginning of it was going to be like, it looked like the the Four Nations a little bit from last year
Yeah.
with a bunch of fights to start the game, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And it was one of those games where everyone is back. I've talked about with you before that I've watched the last like 4 games, like since the Olympic break. I've watched all the games. And it's not a lot. Like, let's just be honest.
Sure.
It took me a while to like really care about the Sabres, and I wanted the Bills to be done. And then it's like, okay, they're done. Finally, I can move on. And it's like these games have been great. And this is the game that had everything you ever wanted. It had high scoring. It had it had hitting. It had fights. Like, even if you were a boomer who loves fighting, or if you're like a young person that just wants scoring, it had everything. And
it had stakes. 2 great teams playing each other for first place in the division. It had everything, man.
Yeah, it had everything, and it's like these are the two top teams in the East, basically. And it was a lot different than last week when they crushed Tampa, and like they got so many guys. There's different parallels to like the 05-06 teams where that 05-06 team, like aside from they captured the hearts of everyone, blah blah blah. They were a very balanced team. And that's what it feels like. The 3 lines here, they have a very balanced team where scoring can come anywhere. Their blue line is ridiculous. Doan has been awesome. Like, thanks, Kevin Adams, from your unemployment couch or whatever the hell you are these days. But like, this game had everything. And these guys, I don't want to say they're scary good yet but they are. Because
why do you say that, Joe? On cue, one of the comments, my buddy Ryan in the chat said, wishes Rich and Norette was here for this one.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that could have been the only thing that would have made this game better. No disrespect to Dan Dunleavy, but yeah.
It definitely, if you were on the fence about the Sabres and like, okay, yeah, I'll watch cautiously from away, or let me know when the playoffs start. I think this brought everyone back. And like, and that's how it is, like with us, because you and I were like, yeah, we'll talk about it. And then this game was crack. It was cocaine. It was drugs. I mean, it was, and you give them credit. Like it was just wacky. Like you're up, what was it, 4-1 they were up by? And then they blow 4-1, they blow 2, then they blow the lead, and then Tampa just keeps going up by 2, and then they keep going back, and it was just unreal. It reminded me of a game, and I talked about this on Blue Sky a little bit. It was like from 20 years ago when that 05-06, where it was like a crazy 7-6 game with the Sens. I remember during the regular season with the shootout, and it was like that sort of vibe when the Sens won. I think the Sens may have won the President's Trophy that season, possibly. Or they were, but they were like the team that the Sabres that year were going after, trying to catch, and they beat them. I was like, you know what, these guys can do this. And this was a game tonight where, you come after this and go, look, they can beat anyone. And, credit to them. And they don't have a lot of weaknesses right now. Aside from maybe the goaltending might be a little bit issues at times, or at least tonight.
It's been actually great, but UPL
it's been great, but
folded tonight. He had an awful game. And the fact that they picked him up makes it even more special. I know this is going to sound a little bit corny, but I'm just being honest. Every now and then, something about sports can get me a little bit emotional. Like when, who's the guy who returned the kick against New England after the DeMar Hamlin near death? It was Nyheim Hines.
Yeah.
He returned that kick. The fans are going nuts. He's in the stands. Just the levity of that moment kind of got me a little bit emotional. I'm not the only one. I'm sure other people did. I can't explain why. For some reason tonight, forget about the outcome of the game, but the end of the first period with all those fights and everyone in the penalty box, and they showed on the broadcast, they would pan to Tampa and the fans in the arena booed them. Then they would cheer the Sabres, boo, cheer. The crowd was insane. Mm-hmm. And then to start the second period, 2 fights in the first 3 seconds, I actually got emotional a little bit about this team because I'm like, this is not the Sabres team that I've watched the last handful of years with a lot of these same core players. And I really felt for the true blue diehard Sabre fans, the ones who have actually stuck with this team through thick and thin to get rewarded like they're starting to now. And this team cares. I mean, just sticking up for each other. Like last year, Tage Thompson almost gets his fucking head taken off and nobody does shit about it. This time he gets hit, everybody's fighting. They kept going after Darlene the whole game. These teams fucking hate each other too. But let's put that out there. I mean, this rivalry is real, but the emotion, the buzz in the stands, the people going crazy. Just imagine if you bought a ticket to this freaking hockey game tonight to get everything you saw. 8-7 with a gazillion fights, end-to-end action all night. Oh, my God. It's just, I'm stunned. I did not expect this. I just
I
didn't
mean, it was an incredible game. And I think we're all going to remember this regular season game. I can't remember like the last great regular season game. I was like, oh, like you can't wait for them to play again. But again, this is like going to be like the lead. I don't know. It could be like the lead on Sports Center. I know people will listen to this on
It
tomorrow,
should
but
be.
it could easily be that. But
How's this not the forget about the Sabres? I mean, I don't follow the whole, I don't follow hockey religiously.
sure,
I don't know how this cannot be the game of the year. 8-7, wild game swings, fights all over the place. And again, the two teams were tied coming into this game, competing for first place in their division. You know what's wild, dude? I got my wife in the live chat right now.
what?
My
Oh my
son's
God.
in the live chat. I'm
Aaron.
telling you, the Sabres are bringing families together.
Oh
One of the
God.
coolest things, I was thinking about it earlier. Like my son, again, he's checking out this live right now. He's into hockey. It's awesome to see. Like genuinely looking forward to the game, sending me texts. If we're not watching it together, he's sending me texts from his girlfriend's house or wherever he is watching the games. It's this team right now is probably, Joe, winning a lot of new fans. Like there's a lot of young fans out there or older fans who maybe they gave up on the team. They're back now, or they're just new fans.
Yeah.
You know what
Look,
I'm saying? It's crazy.
It's interesting, like, going back to like the parallel to 05-06. Like there's balanced scoring. There's also like it was an Olympic year as well, which is kind of crazy. But I think the biggest thing is that when 05-06 happened, what made it so organic was people were sick of the Sabres. They were pissed off because of Regas declaring bankruptcy. It was kind of like a lull in hockey. And that doesn't even, and I remember like thinking like, oh, like there'll never be that sort of lull again, like years after that. And of course there was. The lull was way 100,000 times worse, like having,
Mm-hmm.
13 years of no playoffs. And then the first 2 months of the season or whatever it was a disaster. And it looked like we were going to go through this crap again. I don't know what happened. Like credit to Lindy Ruff. And, this is a team that, in totality, they could beat you 8-7, or they could beat you 2-1. They could beat you in a boring style game where their defense, clutches down on you because they have such a great blue line. Their goaltending's been great, but they score so many fun goals. Like it's not bullshit goals off like some guy's ass.
They scored high-level goals tonight.
High-level
Really
goals, yeah.
good looking. Like you can watch the highlights of them a lot. Do you think the fact that they've sucked for so long makes it a little bit more special?
Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of like when you're in high school and you're in love with that girl, man. You've been in love with her for 4 years, and she finally gives you the time of day. It just feels better. You've been pursuing for 4. You've been in love. You've been thinking about that girl for 4 years, and finally she gives you the time of day. If you're the good-looking dude and you transfer to a school and the girls already love you, I guess it's just not. It doesn't feel as special as the pursuit, so to speak. It's just, I don't know. It's incredible. We'll have another show in the future because, again, this is kind of going, by the seat of my pants here. I can't remember a Buffalo team ever that has had a bigger in-season turnaround than this team. I remember December 8th, Joe, there's a prospect. We don't follow hockey much outside the Sabres. Gavin McKenna. He's this year's consensus number 1. And you know how usually when you're going to tank for somebody, there's a slogan. I was ready to start the gag for Gavin propaganda here on Talking Buffalo, literally in the beginning of December. That's how bad this fucking team was. And now we're talking about it wouldn't surprise anybody if they get to the Stanley Cup right now. It's insanity, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point about the turnaround in one season. Like I'm me, I'm a historian, and it's been a while. Like the Sabres, I think I remember it might have been the year the Pagula year, the first Pagula year, where they were. I think they were in last place in the East, and then they broke. And then the news broke that Pagula was going to buy the team. Then they went on a run and they finished 7th. Like that's the only thing I can kind of remember hockey wise. Football wise, I mean, what is? I mean, it's you probably go 98. They started the season 0-3.
Yeah.
Johnson gets hurt. Flutie comes in. They go 9-3 down the stretch. But it's not. You're right. This is definitely the biggest turnaround in Buffalo sports history for one season because this team is first in first place right now. It's worst to first. And
It
that's
literally is. If
it's
the
just great. I
season
mean,
if the
yeah,
season ended today, the Sabres would be the number 1 seed in the well, hold
you're
on.
gonna.
They wouldn't be the number 1 seed. They'd be the number 2 seed in the conference, and they would be playing the Detroit Red Wings, who would be a wild card team. That it's
Yeah,
just God, I almost don't even know what to say. And you know
it's
what's
just.
funny? Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, go
Uh,
ahead.
I was going to say, because we're going to be talking Bills for, the rest of this
By
episode
the way,
here.
you're getting shit on Twitter from Dick in the Box, Chris Ostrander, because you called this podcast something about Bean, and he's like, you're going to talk about Bean and not that game, and I'm like, yeah, you need to change the title of this podcast.
I didn't have a chance because this went live right
I
afterwards.
know,
Like we
but
do
I'm
the
saying, I
episode
know,
ahead of time. I
I
know.
know. Well, you posted, you made a mistake. You've embarrassed yourself. But
I
anyway,
have disgraced. I know there's probably. Well, I'll tell you what. There's over 800 people in the live already. It's been a
well,
hot
that's
minute
why,
since
yeah,
we've
yeah. I
had
mean,
that many people.
people are. You're gonna have to bring Tone Pucks back. I think you're gonna have to make amends. He's your hockey guy.
You
You're gonna
know
have to
what?
make up with him. You're gonna have to make up with him
I'm
for
going
the
to tell you this
podcast.
right now. You know what? Let's play a little game. I don't give a
Oh,
shit.
okay.
We're going to play a little game. It's called because he has no problem embarrassing me if I say something stupid with sports and calling out my shit. He has no
Okay.
problem doing that publicly. I can't see your stupid tweets, so I never even know what you're saying about me. But I'll see a Tone Bucks comment. I'll be like, what did Joe say? What is Joe saying? Because I can't see it. But you know what? Since our friend Tone Pucks likes to call me out for stupid shit all the time, you want to read some Tone Pucks live tweeting here during the game? This was when they were down and gave up 5 goals in a row. This core has shown us who they are for the last 5 years. Chokes and mids. Ain't got shit to do with you jinxing them. I'm
right,
fully
never mind.
prepared. I'm
Don't
fully
bring 'em back.
prepared to make the biggest bet of my life on whoever the Sabres play in the first round of the playoffs. They are a group of chokes and mids. Hey, you want to call my tweets out? I'm going to call yours out too.
All right, you know
my
what,
guy.
Tone Pucks, I've lost respect for you, buddy. No, but you should bring him back. Or you got to get Dick in the Box on more. Chad Dominicis, I don't know who else. A couple more hockey people. You got to. But look, this
In
game
all
was great.
seriousness, he's
and
not the only one. A lot of people kind of were like, you know what, this team's. Actually, I don't even know
think
what to say.
this could be, like I said, like I don't know what the turnaround game is. Like this could be what has turned. The vibes have been there. Like they've been there for like the last month, give or take. And I think there was like a little bit of a wave with the Olympics and like being excited for Tage and then watching really great hockey. And then it's like they come in and they've won 5 in a row.
7.
Right out. Oh, no, 7 is Jesus Christ. What am I? This is dad brain speaking here.
They've won
but
7 in a row after this game Sunday. They were 7-0 since the Olympic break.
wow,
They were struggling going into the break.
Yeah.
And now they're 7-0. It's just
yeah, we're just gonna. I thought it was 5, but yeah, it's time flies, man. But they've been great, and I'm excited about watching playoff hockey. Like I've told the missus like you're gonna have to start working around my Sabres watching schedule now.
it's fun.
I said to her today, I'm like, look, at 6:00, I'm putting the Sabres game on, and when the playoffs start. There's a Bills bar down the street from me. I've talked about Murphy's. It's in Astoria.
Yep.
And they have a Instagram page called Astoria Bills Backers. And I messaged them and I go, you guys need to start considering putting the Sabres games on there. And they said, yeah, we'll consider that. And then I saw them post asking, like, what would you guys, their followers, what would you say to that? Because it's on. Like, I feel people are hungry. Like,
Sure.
go back to like it's hard to go back with the Bills a little bit. Maybe the 2019 before, because it was tough with COVID and you didn't feel the vibes as well because you weren't at the stadium or you weren't, we were all wearing masks and all that sort of stuff. But people are hungry for this. And people were hungry in 2019, 2020 when the Bills got good all of a sudden after like the same, 17 years or whatever the frick the drought was. But people are hungry for it. But it's great. It's good
feels
hockey
great
too.
for the fans.
Yeah.
It feels good for the fans. I feel good right now for guys like Darlene and Tage and Tuck who have been here for a long time and, suffered through the losing. And they've been told through the years how great it could be here to play for a team that's good and how good it'll be when the fans truly get behind you. And when you give them, in fairness to the fans, they haven't given the team or the fans a reason to get behind them. And now they have, and the fans have responded. And these games are legit hot tickets. By the way, quick shout out, Sonny Lamont, 114 in the live chat. Says hello from Alaska. Wearing my Hasek jersey proudly. Great game. We are in the lead now. Yeah. Shout out. Thank you for watching from Alaska. let's get into some football stuff. Here's the funny part. I usually have some bullshit topics at the start, like that really don't mean much. The Sabres just kind of changed the lead of, or the order, I should say, of this
Yeah.
podcast. I had a couple.
And I see Dick in the Boxes in the chat right now. He's going wham wham Joe. I don't know what that means, dude. No, you're not going to make me into a hockey prospect guy. You and Dick in the Box and Prospect Profit can have their own podcast. By the way, Prospect Profit is what's his name? It's Chris Baker. I've given him that nickname.
Mhm.
You know, him and Dracula Fairburn, because they do their podcast at like 5 a.m.
Dracula Fairburn.
Dracula Fairburn, because he's got to like get up at 5 to do a podcast.
Yeah.
I know he has a kid, I think, but like Jesus, dude, like
I guarantee.
Anyway,
shout out Chris Ostrander for people who are actually listening and not watching. Chris Ostrander, 2 in the Box, who's got a great blog, great podcast, and he's a regular on this show as well. He's joining us for a hot minute here live. He's right too. So the title of this is all about Brandon Beane. I can't change the title live on the video side, but you can rest assured when the podcast drops later on, it will have this game in the headline. Like I said, I had some bullshit small talk stuff planned for the beginning, but the Sabres kind of switched all that. Let's switch gears before we get into a break. 3 things with the Buffalo Bills of note this week to get reaction from. They've all happened over the last handful of days. Let's start with the DJ Moore trade. Obviously, that's probably the biggest one. The Bills give up a 2nd-round pick. They get a 5th rounder. They get DJ Moore. I've spoken about it a little bit. My opinion hasn't changed. I'm very surprised at how many fans have been critical, if not negative, about this deal. I haven't talked to you about it. You haven't been on since, but you're here now. So, I don't know. What was your thoughts? The Bills trade for a wide receiver. I don't even think it's that surprising either. But anyway, DJ Moore, what's your thoughts?
You know, it's weird because, like, during real time as this happened, you know, I think a lot of, as you said, I think it was mocked by a few different people, like DJ Moore. I think Joe Biscaglia had him in his mock.
He did.
His mock GM
offseason. Yep.
Column. Yeah, he had him. It made sense. Like, you know, hey, he could do everything on the field, deep threat, go over the middle, jack of all trades, master of none, knows Joe Brady. Mm-hmm. It made sense. Now, in real time, it's like, okay, good trade. Okay, or the trade's happening. Cool, fine. I like wide receivers. And then Ian Rappaport like tweets out, "Oh, it's a mid pick, mid round." I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like 4th, 5th, okay. And then we see the compensation, and you're like, oh. And it's kind of that felt a little bit stingy. And then you saw like the salary part of it. That was a little bit weird, you know, because I would have thought Chicago. I think we all thought Chicago was their backs were against the wall. Like they had to trade him because of salary. Like look at Tremaine Edmonds. Like Tremaine Edmonds, they were like, 2 weeks ago, they were like, oh hey, go see if you can get a trade partner. Sure, we're gonna like give you permission to seek a trade. No trade happens. What do? They cut him. I don't know if Moore was on that same path or maybe he felt like a week ago he could have been on that same path a little bit, but then, you know, they gave a lot. And I think, you know, it shows, you know, we have to see what this guy does, obviously. If he's great, he's 1,100 yards, 1,200 yards for a couple of seasons, then we won't care. Like, you know, and I'll go back to Stephon Diggs, the original Stephon Diggs trade. I can tell you how I felt. I thought they gave up a lot for Diggs in 2020. And the reason why was because at the time, Diggs had like just 2 1,000-yard seasons. It was a first and a 4th, and I think a 7th. And then DeAndre Hopkins, who at the time was better than Diggs, got traded to Arizona for like a 3rd and some not shitty running back. He was an okay running back. David Johnson, I think was his name. And he got traded. And I remember thinking to myself, man, you know, Hopkins, you know, why couldn't we get Hopkins? That was a better deal. And I feel like we got ripped off. Not ripped off, but it was like, a little bit, and then no one cared. Like I didn't care anymore. I was like, Stephon Diggs was great, awesome, and that's how I kind of feel. Like the cap itself, it will work itself out. Look, the Bills, and we're gonna get to all these stupid like signs they do. They were like $2 billion over the cap. It felt like, and they somehow have like extended a couple guys. You know, extended one guy. They brought in DJ Moore. His cap figure has gone up. So overall, like I get a little bit of the annoyance about the deal and the cracked in the 2nd rounder, but we have to see what happens when we get to, you know, September and all that sort of stuff. But on the surface, I like it. Oh, what do you want, Strander in the chat?
The only center coverage I want to hear from this podcast is on the Sabres centers because he knows we're going to talk Conor McGovern here in a couple.
Why did you bring Strander in? You should just bring him in. Give him the chat. We'll bring him in. We'll do a 3-way conversation. Give him the link. Get on your tube.
I think people, I don't know what they were expecting. Like, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson. I mean, what do you want to pay $28 million for Alec Pierce? DJ Moore's a good receiver. Is he a bona fide stud number one receiver? No, he's not. You know what he is, though? He's a hell of a lot better than Brandon Cooks. He's a hell of a lot better than Amari Cooper. He's a hell of a lot better than Matt Collins, as much as it pains me to admit that. He's a hell of a lot better than Curtis Samuel and Elijah Moore and MVS and Chase Claypool and all these other receivers. He's the best receiver the Bills have had since Stephon Diggs. He's a good player. There was regression with Chicago. I get that, but how big of a Bears fan, realistically, is everyone in the chat? How much of a Bears fan are you? How intimately did you watch that team to know why his numbers dipped?
No, I mean, from what I've read, it was like, look, the Bears have a lot of weapons. They have a ton in terms of like, I don't want to say everybody eats, but like they have a lot of talent there. Caleb Williams missed a lot of throws to him. There were games I watched that I saw that. So that's kind of how I feel about it in general. It is, look, if they was a third rounder, I would have probably been a little bit more happier with it. Because you have to think of it this way. Look, wide receivers get traded all the time when you think about it. Like, and I'm talking like top tier ones, like Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, if we're going back to 2020. And it's a first. It's always like a first and a fourth or something like that. The second rounders, there's not that many guys who have been traded for just a second rounder. Like, I can't think of too many guys. Stephon Diggs, the second time around. And that's the thing. Like, I could sit here and go, who was better, Stephon Diggs in 2023 or Moore this year? I would probably, and they went for both a second and I think a fifth. Kind of, I don't know. It was second was the main one. I would probably tell you that I would feel like Diggs was better a couple of years ago. Just his numbers were better. And I know there was some shit behind the scenes, obviously, and that sort of stuff. But who knows how many teams knew that? And that's where you can kind of go, well, then maybe he's a little bit lesser on that third round. But look, they need wide receivers. If anything, you and I have talked about this before, that Brandon Beane, like, we didn't think he had as much pressure going into next year. Like, he's not going to get fired. That's kind of how, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I felt like that's kind of how we felt. Like, he's not under a giant pressure. He just got promoted. When you see a move like this, it smells like desperation. And maybe he knows he needs to figure this out as soon as possible.
I agree with that. I think that's a good take. And you know what else, Joe? There's a lot of receivers out there right now. So you look at the free agent receivers, okay? And this might make more sense to me why they traded for DJ Moore. Romeo Dobbs, Rashid Shaheed are two guys that come to mind right away. They're going to get a lot of money in the open market. They might get as much money as DJ Moore, or at least close to it. Here's the thing. Those guys, Dobbs, Shaheed, that are much talked about, they smell a lot like Josh Palmer and Curtis Samuel. Guys who've had 600, 700, 800-yard seasons, but you feel like they've never had their full potential untapped or tapped, I should say. And like their best football's ahead of them. The Bills bought into that theory with Samuel. They bought into that theory with Palmer. I'm not going to write Palmer off as a scrub yet. 1 year, he's going to get a second year, okay? 1 year is injured a lot. Not a good year, but I'm not going to write him off. Samuel's cut, and he's gone already. 2 years, couldn't stay healthy, and he did nothing. Those guys smell a little bit like that. DJ Moore is a lot more proven. DJ Moore's had 4 1,100-yard seasons in the past. Now, quarterback Caleb Williams, the chemistry, maybe there was an issue there. They had a top 10 pick in Roma Dunze. They had a top tight end pick in Loveland. They had Luther Burden the third this past year. Got lost in the mix a little bit. But before we get to a break, the Tyler Dunn, because you're going to accuse me of stealing takes. You do that all the time.
You do it all the time. You do.
Sure. Tyler Dunn had a comparison, and it's the perfect comparison. This is why you trade for DJ Moore. The ball's up in the air. It's the playoff game. It's overtime. It hits your hands. Brandon Cooks don't make the play, and the Bills lose to Denver. DJ Moore makes the play with somebody draped over him, and the Bears beat the Packers in overtime on a touchdown pass to DJ Moore at the end of the game, and they advance in the playoffs. That's the difference between the two. Give me a guy who's going to make the big play. What? Go
Hold
ahead.
on 1 second. Big news. Wow, I didn't know this was a thing.
I don't think I think that's fake news, by the way.
No, I'm looking at Ian Rappaport's thing right now. It's real. So Terron Johnson, the Raiders are trading for Bills veteran Terron Johnson. Sources say it's a 6 and 7 pick swap. Interesting. Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's real.
It is real. I'm seeing it right now too. People, I thought in the live chat, I apologize. People were saying it's fake. You know what? We're going to talk about him. So going into the break, that's enough for DJ Moore right now. Like I said, we'll see what happens. But yeah, right now, literally, the Bills were cutting Terron Johnson. They officially didn't cut him, so he's still a Bill. Rather than him hit free agency, the Bills actually going to get something for it. They're going to get a 6th for 7th round pick swap with the Vegas Raiders. So the Bills are picking up a 6th, and they're giving up a 7th. Good catch. I thought that was fake news until you said that. All right, so Terron Johnson is not cut. Terron Johnson is traded. Good job on Brandon Beane to get something. On the video side, 5-second break, come back. We'll actually get right to that right after this quick one. All right, on the video side, we are here live, and Terron Johnson did indeed just get traded to the Vegas Raiders. Is that technically, I was about to give you credit because you did predict. A couple of weeks ago, we had a predictions for the offseason Bills, and your bold prediction was Terron Johnson was going to get cut. Technically, you're kind of wrong because he didn't get cut. They didn't get a chance.
No, I said he would get cut or traded. That's what I said. So I stayed face in so I was right because I picked both, either that. I guess the biggest thing, aside from me being a genius, is and someone just brought this up in the chat. Can we save money? What happens with the cap?
I'm waiting to find out. So what it was, if
someone
they were
DM Craig Thompson, ask him. Yeah,
I'm looking it up right now as we're talking because again, this is in real time live. I do know that when they were cutting him not a post June 1st either. So the Bills were only saving $1.8 million, and they were going to eat $9 million in dead cap. I'm pretty sure that's the same thing. I'm looking at trade pre-June 1st for Terron Johnson. Wow, hold on. Let me see something. I don't know. They might have updated it already. I don't know. The answer is
I'm sure it will come up. The chat, you guys, someone who's not, Tooch, Mike Carlisto, who says I look like shit on here, that I need to go to bed. Thank you for the chat there, buddy. You're really nice to me, Mr. Carlisto. Maybe someone can let me know, us know about the cap if it gets posted on Twitter.
Well, let's talk about Terron while we're figuring that out. Let's actually talk about him because he is traded, not cut. He was going to get cut. So no matter what, he was not part of the Bills' plans. Jim Leonard must have saw something he really didn't want in Terron Johnson because, again, the Bills still might be eating $9 million in dead cap to only save $2 million. But whether it's a cut, whether it's a trade, which it is a trade, were you surprised that the Bills are moving on from Terron Johnson?
I'm not. As you said, a couple of things about him. I want to just go through the good parts first,
yeah,
and then we could go into the bad a little bit if you don't mind. Versatile guy, like a Sean McDermott guy would call him, and also a Brandon Beane guy. Guy, it was Brandon Beane's first draft that he drafted him. That 2018 class, Josh Allen kind of overshadows it, but there's some good players that they picked, like him, Tremaine Edmonds, Johnson, Tyler, Wyatt Teller is in that class. That's a really good class. So credit to Beane, but the quintessential McDermott guy played so many snaps, versatile. He was like the Jordan Poyer of the cornerback room, if anything. He kind of played like Jordan Poyer in a way as the slot, just physical guy, did a lot of great plays. And look, the play that we'll always remember, which arguably, in my opinion, is the biggest play in Ralph Wilson Stadium history, was the pick six in the divisional game against Baltimore. Which
biggest
in
play
that
of this
game,
era.
yeah, Baltimore's about to score a touchdown to. I think they're going to either take the lead. I think in that regards, I'm trying to remember. I think it was 3-0 or something like that. And pick six. He runs all the way back. It was a great play. You always think of the photo. You always think of like the one photo by the end zone where like Josh Allen's jumping in the air on the sidelines, and you see him doing this. But he was a great player. But here comes the bad. Like I think you and we had a couple of different post game shows where we were not impressed with him, and I don't know. I've had this theory, and I wrote about this in my Substack last week, that I think this Jim Leonard defense is going to be a little bit like the Rex Ryan origins of like a blitz crazy defense where everyone's playing like multiple positions and like you're going to have like just different looks constantly. And I could not see that guy moving the safety because I feel like in that system, you probably want more of a more physical guy back there, or more of a guy who's going to, knows the system more kind of guy. And I say that because what was Jim Leonard's position? A safety. And I think Jim Leonard, if he's bringing in this defense, and I use the Jim Leonard being Rex Ryan, analogy was like Rex Ryan used to always say he was like the coach on the field with the Jets. And I feel like that's probably what he wants, is a safety who's going to know his defense back there. So that idea didn't ring, for them maybe. But I think the time is now, for that. But we'll see what happens. Like if he's with the Raiders and he's kicking ass, then we might be like, all right, maybe he had a couple years left. But it just feels like a guy who has played that many snaps, who has always been a hell of a run supporter. That wear and tear is going to get to you a lot faster than if you're Deion Sanders on the outside and you're just running and you're not you're scared to take tackles. So that's kind of my thing.
Agreed. No, I completely agree with you. I'm surprised they got something. And by the way, I did find out the financials are still the exact same. So the Bills are saving $1.8 million in cap space by trading him, and they're eating $9 million, 9.6 or something like that this year. So it's the same difference financially. But the Bills, now I did see Vegas had 2 6-round picks. Theirs in Jacksonville. I would assume the later pick is going to go to the Bills. But whatever. At least they're moving up. It was just, I really don't have much to add. I think you covered it all. Terron Johnson's time had just passed. I think he was becoming more and more of a liability. People say that the nickel position won't matter as much in Jim Leonard's defense. I don't agree with that at all. I just don't think the player had it in him anymore. But anyway, at least they got something for him. The other news, which to me is surprising because I thought for sure him and David Edwards were both gone, but the Bills Saturday afternoon re-signed center Conor McGovern, 4-year extension, $52 million, $32 million guaranteed. For the moment, he's the 3rd highest paid center in the league. That's going to switch probably by the time, if you listen to this on Monday, if Linderbaum signs somewhere. He's probably going to be a top 5, top 6 paid center when it's all said and done. But the Bills lock up their center for 4 more years. You said it on the show last week. It really resonated with me, too. I remember it. One of the few things I do remember. You said the Bills have been really good at center continuity for a long time now. Eric Wood, nice long career at center before he got cut short because of the injury. Mitch Morse, the Bills signed him when he was a free agent, and he was fantastic until they had to move on from him. And Conor McGovern has stepped in for the last few years, and he's been very good. So continuity rules there. I don't know. I don't know the Bills' salary cap situation right now. This doesn't help it, but is it a position? Is he worth the money? Do you think this was the right decision?
Yeah, I mean, I do, because look, the best unit that Brandon Beane has built, probably in this decade, has been the offensive line.
Definitely.
It's definitely like where his fingerprints are all over it, because you can't say the secondary, because like who were the cornerstones? Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Trey White. That was Doug Whaley, Brandon Beane, or Doug Whaley, McDermott, etc.
Sean, sure.
Yeah, Sean. Yeah, whatever. Like it wasn't him. Like this is the unit he built, and like guys have changed. Like he built it from being an okay one with Darrell Williams and John Feliciano, and he had the core, which was Dawkins and Mitch Morris, and then like everyone on there was like has been like a stud for the most part. And I think with McGovern, the weird thing to me about it, and I don't know how much you want to go into the weeds here, was how, this week, Tim Graham talked to Conor
Yeah.
McGovern, and he was like, "I'm not coming back. I don't think." Like it
He
feels like
said
it was his.
Tim reported that Conor McGovern hadn't spoken with the Bills since his exit interview, and he spoke with
Yeah.
Beane on locker cleanout day, and he said he hadn't spoke to him since.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Josh Reed came out with the story that said, like,
Did you call him Josh Reed? Did you call him by his real name?
Yes, I did not call him by Kentucky Reed Derby. Yes, I'm trying to be nice to him because you might have him on your show soon. So I'm trying to be diplomatic. But yeah, then he had the tweet that said basically that the Bills, that he had a source that told him, like, oh, they did meet and they could be for a reunion, which I'm sure that came from the Bills, like Brandon Beane probably leaked to him, or Boyko. But it was interesting just how that whole thing that, like, and then like Tim Graham, I don't know if you saw us on Twitter, he was saying that, like, that story kind of made them, he heard it made them a little bit more proactive to get the thing done faster, I guess, which kind of weird, but whatever, I'll take it. But overall, look, I'm down with keeping him. The one thing I want to say is maybe Josh Allen saw that story and, like, called up Beane and was like, "Hey, dude, why aren't you calling him my boy?"
It does feel like there's a little something. There's things that maybe I feel like some things are cut and dry. I feel like with this story, there may be more to it than meets the eye when it comes to Conor McGovern, because, and I know you'll agree with me on this, if there's one thing I could tell you with sports media in Buffalo, the number one thing I could tell you above anything else is if Tim Graham puts something out there, it's credibly sourced. He ain't throwing darts. Tim Graham is no dart thrower, okay? He is, pandering Pat, I know. Tim
ball
Graham
watching Tim Graham. It's fine. You can
ball watching Tim Graham. There's nobody in the sports media that's more plugged in than Tim. And he's not a source guy. He doesn't put out sources often. So anyway, my point was,
yeah, go ahead.
I completely believe his report. That's what I'm telling you. It wasn't some bullshit. He wasn't taking a guess. It wasn't guesswork or something.
No. Well, yeah. Well, he had talked to McGovern, and, like, McGovern told him that.
So McGovern said it.
Yeah. Ralph Wilson in the chat brings up Cromer. Yes, absolutely. Cromer. I mean, I give Beane credit, but yes, Cromer was a big part of that.
Sure.
With developing them.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to keep your guys, because look, the possibility of losing, like, before this offseason, I mean, the offseason still, like, it's kind of starting, but, like, 2 weeks ago, the assumption was they're going to lose 2 of their offensive linemen. And that doesn't feel great if you're going to lose 2 offensive linemen.
Yeah, no, I didn't want that.
One, fine. Like, 2, So, yeah, it seems like a good move. Hopefully he stays healthy, obviously. And I don't know how they're affording any of this anymore. I don't get the cap at all. Like, I don't get the cap anymore. I really don't. Like, I know, Tebow and Greg Thompson knows the cap, but I think he knows it, but I think he'll be like, how the hell do they afford this? Like, somehow, and they figure it out.
They got it. Like, the one thing I do know, and I don't know how they're getting there. I know Josh Allen still hasn't done his, and that's coming, and there'll be a couple other things too. But the one thing I do know is to make the DJ Moore trade, they need to be able to afford his original contract. Soon as they do that, then they're going to do a salary conversion, and his salary cap figure will go from like $24 million to like less than $7 million, like that same day. So it's cap gymnastics like always. I'll say this about Conor McGovern: I'm surprised and I'm happy. It feels to me, the offensive line is pretty much, they're going to plug Alec Anderson in, and he's going to make, ironically, about the same money that David Edwards has made starting for the last 2 years. Kind of the same path, too. David Edwards was that 6th jumbo lineman who became a starter, a solid one for 2 years. Now he's about to go get a really good payday from somebody. Kind of Alec Anderson is that guy now. The rest of the line is the same. It might not be like that for long. Deion Dawkins is probably closer to the end. Will they pay Osiris Torrance a big extension? I don't know. But for this year, it's continuity. And I think that's important in part because Cromer is gone or retired. So yeah. I love that. I love having the offensive line back. I think it's a very underrated aspect. It has been a very underrated aspect of this football team now for years. So I don't know. Maybe it comes at the expense that they don't get a more high-priced edge rusher or safety or something. But give me the offensive line. I would not have liked to developmental guys both starting. One's perfect for me. Let's talk about free agency because, again, people are going to wake up. If you're listening to this in the afternoon, it started, like, literally already. I feel like on offense now, Joe, other than another receiver who's coming, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a big name. Maybe a draft pick, maybe a veteran, but it feels like they're ready to run it back offensively, which I'm okay with, by the way. I mean, Ty Johnson didn't get cut. I don't think he's going to. The running backs are the same. Dawson Knox is probably the one mystery still because they haven't done anything with him. There's no way he's playing for that cap hit this year, right? They got to do something. Whether they cut him, save 9.4, or they get him to take a pay cut. Nothing's been announced yet, but he ain't playing for that. But if he's back, the tight ends are the same. The offensive line is almost the same. You add DJ Moore. What's there really to do on offense? Get another wide receiver. They might need another quarterback too, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Dawson, we'll start with him. I don't know what's going on with that. You know, I think of Dawson Knox as like the Ristolainen or Zemi or Gergensons of like the Bills, where it's like they kind of have overpaid this guy. He's still here. I don't really know why he's still here, but I think he's still here because in the Sabres case with Risto and Gergensons, is like the owner really liked him a lot. Yeah. And in this case, Josh Allen likes him a lot. And maybe Pagula likes him too. I have mixed feelings because I don't know. What do you want this offense to be? Do you want this offense to be ground and pound where they're going to play their two tight ends a lot? Or do you want them to have a 3 wide receiver set where you have Moore, Shakir, your boy Joshua Palmer on the outside or whatever? Like, is that like what's sexier to you?
I think this offense should be exactly what it was last year, with the exception that the wide receiver room is better.
Okay, but then if you're doing a 2 tight end system, you're not going to get another wide receiver on the field. You're not going to pass as well, at least in my opinion. And I think you're ball washing the offense a little too much. Like you're forgetting like the really bad games, like against Houston, the Eagles game. You're even forgetting like the playoff
Atlanta.
Game.
They had bad games, sure.
They had some bad games, and I don't think we should just be like we want it to be the same. Like I don't. They need to develop their passing game better. Their passing game was not that great. It was too inconsistent.
Yeah, but they're the best rushing attack in the NFL.
Yeah, and you know what? They're not. Are they in the Super Bowl? Did they go to the AFC Championship?
Not because of no. I don't think it's because of the offense.
You could look. Jonathan Taylor was like almost won the rushing title, and the Colts are sitting at home. I know you want to rush the football, and you and the Boomers all love rushing the football, and so does Brandon Beane. And I'm telling you, that's not how you're going to win a fucking Super Bowl.
Joe, I want Curtis Samuel, Brandon Cooks, and McCole Hardman to not be the pass catchers. That's what I want. Okay, you could run the pass ratio to me was fine. But give me DJ Moore. Give me another receiver, too. Get Shakir out more. I think the personnel needs to be better.
My whole point is this. Like, I want to put your best 11 guys on the field. Okay? And I don't know if putting 2 tight ends on the field is I don't know how much that's going to help with the passing game. Because I want them to pass.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
Joe Brady's in charge now. You could make a case, and maybe you will make a case, that maybe the offense was, while it was Joe Brady's offense, it was reflected on what Sean McDermott wanted from this offense, which was running the football. Maybe Joe Brady's in charge. Do you expect a different offense with Joe Brady being the head coach and the offensive coordinator, though?
I have no clue. I mean, I definitely do think there's validity to that Sean McDermott wanted them to run the ball more and not turn the ball over, because McDermott's like you, a boomer. You both want to freaking like not, you don't want to turn the ball over. You want to have Josh around 220 yards. You want to rush for 175 yards. You want to win 24-20, and the idea of winning 48-35 gives you nightmares. Okay, like, is that possible? Yeah, it's possible. I don't know that though. I mean, there's not a lot of evidence. They have been trying to say like they have shown that they want a wide receiver. And, but prior to coming here, I mean, Joe Brady got fired in Carolina. He had a couple years with Moore was like their MVP, or he did well with them, obviously, but it's hard for me. It's not like a situation where you have like Kevin, like an offensive guru who you knew before was passing, and then all of a sudden you neutered him. So I don't know. Like, couldn't that happen where they're going to pass the ball more? Maybe, but, and I'll say this again, Brandon Beane has said repeatedly he wants this. He has said, like, I want this team to run the football. He has said, like, we tried to do the 3-4 wide receivers. It didn't work anymore because defenses got bigger or whatever. So, or smaller. I forgot which one he said. And then, I think he said smaller. So they wanted to rush the football more. I think it's going to be more up to Brandon Beane. If Brandon Beane wants them to be a passing team, they'll be a passing team. If he wants them to kind of be running the football maybe more, he'll be that. But you're right. Maybe we'll find out. We're not going to find out till September. Would it shock me? No, because I do feel that McDermott does have a stand. But again, I've always felt McDermott and Brandon Beane had the same vision of what they wanted this team to be. They just had different ways of getting there.
Well, I can promise you this.
Go ahead.
If Brandon Beane has any influence in this offense, you could count on DJ Moore getting fed the football, because the last thing in the world Brandon Beane wants is for this trade to be a bad trade.
Sure.
That could be the final nail for him, giving up a second-round pick. Which, by the way, the second-round pick, you could flip a coin. You're like, whoa, hey, man, I mean, listen, the Bills got James Cook and Cole Bishop and Osiris Torres in the second round. Those are core players. There's no question about it. They also got Boogie Basham in the second round and A.J. Epinesa in the second round and Keon Coleman in the second round, which, by the way, we didn't even mention him with this offense. Kind of got a prediction for you of sorts. I don't remember what I said 2 days ago, let alone when you and I did a prediction show. But I don't think Keon Coleman's going to be on this team this year. I don't. I think he's going to get traded. I do.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think he'll be either part of a package for somebody or he'll be dealt for a mid-round pick. But I do not think Keon Coleman's going to be on this team. I just don't. I don't see him as a fit. I think he's done in Buffalo. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're throwing out all the cliches like, oh, he's like Joe Brady be like, the best thing that's happened is you're going to be my head coach or whatever. I'm going to be your head coach, whatever he said. But I've been on that front where I do think he's going to get traded, but who the hell knows? And if he does get traded, then you probably need to get a wide receiver in the third or fourth round, because you got to get some cheap guys there at some point. Like.
No, you're right. I'm not laughing at that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take one more break. Then I want to talk about the defense, which I think is going to be different. We're going to also take a stab at where we predict some Bills free agents are going to end up, if it's not going to be with Buffalo. Before that, though, I got to share this screen here in real time. I apologize for the audio people, but this tweet's just too fucking funny to not share. Where is it? Come on. There it is. Dan Fates. I got to give him some props on a really good tweet, but let me put this up here in the live chat because this is fucking hilarious. It's a picture of Bob Costas. It says UPL gives up 7 goals in the Sabres. The caption is Bob Costas saying, I don't give a fuck. I just telling you how good this Sabres team is right now. What a fucking
hilarious.
That was
you had to stop the podcast to put Fan Fenta's screen grab. I thought he was like chatting you and like you're gonna.
No,
really
it's a great screen grab. UPL gave up 7 goals and the Sabres won anyway. All right, let's be back in like on 5 seconds. 5 seconds on the video side. Be right back. By the way, I wasn't ball washing. I was just recognizing a solid tweet.
That wasn't that funny. No one in the chat laughed. We probably lost everyone.
No one thinks that was funny in the live. Really?
No one thought it was funny. Look at that. You see, please don't put more wind in that guy's sail for the love of God. Yeah. That's him talking about that.
All right, so listen, the offense, I think at this point, even if they lose Dawson Knox, the only change you're going to see is I think they're still going to add to the wide. They'll get some depth guys maybe, but they're still going to add to the wide receiver room. Defense is another story, dude. They need to do a lot. They need to potentially get up to like 4 or 5 new starters. I'll list them real quick. As Joe gets up, I think he's had enough of this.
Go get another Sundrift. Sorry, go ahead.
Another Sundrift. There's that beer cracks.
Spin. It's water seltzer.
Oh, okay, fine. Michael Hoyt. They got right now. If you look at the depth chart with the current roster of players, Cover One had a really good depth chart. I checked it out. Michael Hoyt starting. Ideally, he's your number 3 guy. He's your AJ Epinesa in this defense, ideally, when it comes to edge guys. TJ Sanders is currently a starting defensive end. Again, ideally, he's not starting. He's a backup. You got Bernard starting an inside linebacker with Dorian Williams. I don't think you want Dorian Williams there necessarily. And they don't have a nickel or a safety right now. Terron Johnson just got traded. They don't have it. They cut Taylor Rapp. Damar Hamlin's a free agent. Poyer's gone probably. Jordan Hancock maybe could be the nickel guy. I mean, that's what he was drafted for originally in the 5th round last year. But there's a lot of work to do on this defense. Like the offense, I feel like maybe they tweaked their philosophy, but the personnel is going to be the same. But I think starting hopefully here on Monday, we're going to start to see a lot of new bodies here in Buffalo. Better.
Yeah. I mean, can I ask you this? You know how, let me phrase how I want to ask this. You know, sometimes when like a new defense comes in, right? New strategy, new coach, and you have like 1 or 2 guys are like, man, I can't wait to see that guy in this system.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anyone on this defensive roster? You're like, man, you know, this guy, like, I remember when Jerry Hughes, I'll give you an example. Like, he was a defensive end, and I thought, man, he's going to look great as an outside linebacker in Rex Ryan's defense. And I was wrong. He didn't like it. It didn't work for Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
There's like those guys. Is there anyone that you have where you're like, man, I need to see this guy in this defense because I think they could do a lot of things with this guy on defense?
One.
Michael Hoyt, right? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
There's a couple. The biggest one, though, I'll say, I think Ed Oliver can be really good in the system if he stays healthy. Hoyt is another one if he's healthy, but, man, it's tough to come back from an Achilles. But the one guy I'm most intrigued about is Cole Bishop. Jim Leonard, secondary, aggressive safety. I think you'll start to see him get up more in the box. Maybe he'll play a big nickel at times. He'll be a strong safety if they could get a deep guy back there. I think Cole Bishop can cook in a more aggressive defense. I think he's one of those, he's more of an instinctive type player than a reactionary type player. And I think he'll get cut loose. I think he is a perfect fit potentially for this system. I don't know if Max Harrison's good. I think this is going to be a good fit for him. He'll probably play a lot more man. They'll probably be more blitz heavy, so they'll be in man-to-man situations. I like the secondary, the fit of the secondary with him. And someone actually mentioned in the live chat, and you're going to roll your eyes, Epinesa is an unrestricted free agent. I think AJ Epinesa might be a decent player in
He's
this
too
system.
small. He's going to be an outside linebacker. That's what I was kind of getting at. Like, I'm very worried about the defensive, like the transition of the front seven into and maybe I'm overthinking the 3-4 looks. I know when they say hybrid, they always say hybrid in a
Dorian
way
Williams,
to like,
I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. There's a live chat. Joe T said Dorian Williams. That's another one who a downhill guy who could be good in this defense.
Yes, he could be good in an inside linebacker spot. I could see him in that as like 2 linebackers there. But like I don't think Greg Rousseau is your classic defensive end in the 3-4. I really don't.
No, he's going to be more of an edge rusher. He's going to be more of a stand-up on the edge guy.
Yeah, but he'll be an outside linebacker. Is that kind of what you want? It's a little weird for me to see that because I don't think he's fast enough to be that outside linebacker. You want him to, like, I think of like Cornelius Bennett, like a guy who's fast and he goes up the field really quick and like Sean Merriman, like that type of thing. I don't see Rousseau like that. And I think of him kind of as like he needs to have a fat guy next to him, like as a D tackle next to him that could take some more blocks. And then Ed Oliver, I know you mentioned Ed Oliver. Is he going to be a nose tackle? Is he going to be an end?
He'll be he'll be an end, but in that defense, an end is not really an end. Like he'll still be lined up between like the guard and the tackle. It's not like he's going to be coming off the edge.
I may have Bill's like. You know how we talked about Bill's drought brain a little bit here? Yeah. I may have like Bill's Rex Ryan drought brain in my head because I think back just to that whole like transitioning from Jim Schwartz when they had a 4-3 and that defense was awesome and they had the same personnel. And the next year I was like, okay, it's going to be fine because they had Mike Pettin before and that was good too. And it's the same defense. And it wasn't. And it was a fucking disaster and everyone hated it. No one was good except from what I remember, Lorenzo Alexander and Darby and Stephon Gilmore. Like, I have that in the back of my head a little bit where I'm scared about that because
Sure.
I just don't know how these guys are going to transition. And again, I could be looking at, like, as I said, when you say hybrid, that like makes you go, oh, okay, it's hybrid. That means they're gonna do different looks. So maybe it won't be as fundamental as like Tecmo Super Bowl 3-4 defense, like pressing on your controller in 1997. But like, I'm really worried about that 7. And I agree, and I say that with the implication of they do need more guys in. As much as I love the wide receiver train, I'm very aware that they need to figure out this front 7.
I think
go ahead.
Without question, that's their number one priority at this point is edge rusher. Like, they got to find somebody, whether it's a trade or free agency, they got to bring somebody in off the edge. And they're probably, man, my money would say they take one in the first round of the draft. In terms of guys, another person we're not mentioning, you know, he did come from a 3-4 college or Baylor in college, Terrell Bernard. Can he stay healthy? I'm telling you, I think fans are prematurely writing him off as a
you
bum.
hate him too. You're writing him off too.
I thought he stunk this past year. Did you see his foot from that surgery? Did you see any photos on Twitter? Man, they did some pretty major surgery on his ankle, man. He was hurt last year. He was never healthy. Now, that's an issue because he's smallish and he plays and he gets banged up, kind of like Terron Johnson. Bernard's the same type of player, undersized and prone to injury. So staying healthy is a big if. But, dude, he's a football player. And he was good a couple years ago. When he was healthy, he makes plays. And I feel like this defense is going to be kind of catered for him to make some plays. I think he's going to start this year.
Yeah, he probably will. I mean, I would assume so too. I think the biggest thing they need to figure out is who's going to be the nose tackle. They need a fat. We've been talking for like the last 5 years how the Bills need to get a fat guy up front.
Well, they got Deion Walker now, but I don't think he's a nose tackle.
I don't think Deion is like that. I don't know if he could be a nose tackle. I know he's tall, but I don't know if he needs to have a bigger ass.
He's a little more for his size. He's actually more athletic than Braun. You know what I mean? He's probably
Braun who? Breaker?
No, Braun, like Brawny.
Oh, okay.
He's probably more of a defensive end. Ideally, you're right. They get a true nose tackle, and then you could have Oliver and Deion Walker as your ends.
They need to get They need to get Ted Washington's sperm and like clone it and like get it done in like 20 and like to get him to 25 years old and by training camp. But they need a fat guy like that.
You know what sucks?
Big fat guy.
You know what sucks is I think maybe their two worst fits on this defense are their second and third round picks just from last year. I don't think TJ Sanders is a fit. And I don't think Landon Jackson's a fit either at all.
Yeah. I mean, again, and I don't, and look, I could be fooled. Like, I remember, like, that's not to keep going to history, but I will. Like, I remember when the Bills transitioned from a 4-3 with Dave Wanstead to a 3-4 with Mike Pettin. I thought it was going to be a disaster. And that defense was awesome. And it was like the same personnel with Darius, Mario Williams, and I think, you know, a couple other guys were like the same guys, and they just blew up in that system.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I was wrong about that. And so that could be the case. You know, I just, again, I have that in the back of my brain, just that 2-3 year period with Pettin to Rex to Schwartz, and like how it went, the defense went like this, and it went plummeted under Rex. So I get scared with that whole thing. But you're right. It's just, I'm not that excited. Like Bernard could be, like, going back, because you said, like, Bernard, he could be okay in this defense. Because look, if you have a 3-4, you don't have to spread the linebackers only have to cover like a certain amount of the field. Whereas if you're in a 4-3, you're in the middle, you got to cover everywhere, you know, and you get your ass knocked out a little bit more. So maybe he won't this time around, but that's why you need to get a fat guy. You need fat guy in a little coat.
So when you basically look at free agency, and I don't know the players, but on offense, they definitely, you can use depth anywhere. You could always use depth, but they're going to need a receiver. I think they're going to need a new backup quarterback. We'll get to that in a second. Defense still, like I said, one or two guys on the line for sure, an edge rusher and a safety. They don't have a safety. It's literally Cole Bishop, and that's it right now, because I think Hancock's going to become a nickel corner on this team. Let's play a little bit of a guessing game here. I'm gonna name some guys that are about to be free agents. They will be free agents when you're hearing this, or guys who just got cut. And I want you to just take a guess, take a stab at where you think they're going to end up. Doesn't even have to have a good reason for it. Sometimes you take a guess and you're right. By the way, Terron Johnson was first on this list. I had him going to Pittsburgh. Obviously, he got traded to the Raiders. So I'm going to run off some names for you. We'll start with the other cut players. Taylor Rapp. Where does Taylor Rapp end up?
I'm going to say the Rams.
The Rams?
He goes back to L.A.
All right.
But I could see him not playing at all because he hasn't played much this year. He's kind of long in the tooth. But I can see him going back to the Rams.
He's playing. All right. Kansas. I got Kansas City.
No.
Curtis Samuel. Sometimes it's a gut feeling, obviously.
It's a gut feeling. I mean, you're right. I'm going to say Tennessee.
Tennessee? Okay.
Yeah, why not?
I got the New York Jets. And I don't know. It just feels like a Jets guy to me. I got to listen. Dane Jackson.
You know what? Going back, you're right. The Jets could be a thing, maybe, because actually, no. I'm sorry. I was thinking Frank Wright's the OC, but I don't think he might have had Samuel in Carolina for that cup of coffee, but that he had. But
I don't remember.
Dane Jackson, nowhere. He'll probably come back to the Bills in the practice squad.
Nope. He might end up on a practice squad, but he's going to not be around. Let's get to some offensive free agents. The big name.
What about Matt Milano?
Well, he's a free agent. We'll get to him.
Oh, sorry.
Offensive. Those were guys who got cut. Taylor Rapp, Samuel, Dane Jackson. David Edwards, in line to get the biggest contract of any Bills free agent.
I'm going to say the Raiders.
The Raiders, okay.
I feel like a team that doesn't have a lot of cap space, has a lot of cap space, will go after that guy. Yeah. I feel like the Raiders have to have a lot of cap space, so they're going to go there.
I think he's a good player. He's going to get paid like an elite guard. I don't think he's an elite guard. He's a very good guard. I got the Titans, by the way.
Titans, okay.
Reggie Gilliam.
Oh, God. Can I say he's going to come back to the Bills?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to come back to the Bills. They love fullbacks. Why not?
Yep, I agree with you, but I am a little concerned because I would have bet my life that Matt Collins was going to be that re-signing guy too, and he ended up going to New England. I will say too, fullback Alec Ingold just signed a 2-year contract with, I want to say, the Chargers shortly before we came on, and I'm only bringing him up if I can find him. Here it is. He signed with the Chargers, 2 years, $7.5 million deal, and he's a fullback. Would the Bills pay $3.75 per year, multiple years for Gilliam? That's not chump change, man. I don't know. Wonder if he gets priced out. Another Matt Collins funeral, my God. Diamond Pickle loves to call me out every time I bring up Matt Collins. But anyway, we both agree, Bills. But I will say, I don't think it's not the slam dunk that I think everyone thinks it is. All right.
It will be funny if he doesn't sign back, because then it will give me hope that they're going to spread the ball out more and have more of a.
But who's going to give Josh Allen the tush push, man? It's unstoppable when Gilliam gets behind him.
I don't know. They could find another fullback. I mean, you can't find a fullback in the draft, like the 6th round.
Joe T in the live says the Houston Texans. Okay, I can see that. 2 more offensive guys. Ryan Vandermark, backup tackle.
I don't care. Pittsburgh.
Say the Bills. Pittsburgh? All right, I'm going to say the Bills.
Sure.
He could be the swing tackle for the Bills. Mitch Trubisky.
Oh, God.
Is he coming back, or where is he going?
I think he's going to go. He's going somewhere else. Okay. I will say.
I agree with you. By the way, go ahead.
Titans.
Titans?
Yeah,
me too.
He knows. Does he know Dable? I don't think he was the. Was he the backup quarterback in 2021? Here, I don't know if he was. No. I don't think he was. No, it was It was still Barkley, I think then. But whatever, go there. He can.
He'll get a good contract.
Yeah.
He has a non-injury path to play in there. I feel like if Cam Ward stinks and they want to make a change, they go to the veteran and can see it happening now. Teams don't stay with rookies unconditionally anymore if they're not good. All right, defense. Here's one. I already know what you're going to say, but I'm going to say, all right, let's start. Defense, Joey Bosa.
God. What do you mean? I'm going to know what I'm going to say. He's going to go work for Trump? No, I'm not. That's not what I was going to say. No. Bosa, I could see him going to Cowboys.
Yes,
I'm sure Jerry will love to have
That's not who I thought you were going to say. By the way, quick shout out. We well over 2,000 people now on the live. It's been a while
because of hockey.
Because of hockey. It is because of hockey.
Yeah, it's because of hockey.
Shout out Buffalo Sabres, despite not even having them in the title of this podcast on the video side. But
also, I think Ostrander ratioed us because he couldn't, he ratioed us, and I think that's why we're getting engagement on Twitter. He did that.
So you say Chris. Dallas.
Dickhead.
I'm shocked that you didn't say San Francisco. Bosa playing with his brother, being the Mega Brothers, the Mega Power Brothers.
Mega Powers.
San Francisco.
I thought you were going to talk about politics.
I'm just throwing a comment out there. But anyway, all right, so I got him going to Frisco. You got him going to Dallas.
San Fran's too woke for that guy. He ain't going there.
Who truly stays here? I'm not sure who Joe's talking about. I know you're not talking about Bosa. Bosa's not coming back. AJ Epinesa.
Defense.
He's talking about Trubisky. My bad.
Okay, no problem. AJ, he's not coming back here. I cannot see him fitting here because he'd have to be.
Probably right.
I'm done with him. Get out of here, dude. Again, you're like the Gergensons of.
He's the epitome of the Bills' playoff failure defensively. He's not the only one. No. But when you think of mediocre to poor elimination round Bills playoff losses, AJ Epinesa is the kind of player you think about. Anyway, who's going to get the next version of AJ Epinesa?
Chiefs? Yeah.
Okay. I got Carolina for some reason. No idea why. I don't even know if they need anyone. It just felt like putting them down there.
Does Carolina sign a lot of ex-Bills? I'm trying to think. Like, you know how we just signed a billion of them? Like, do they sign any of our
I can't think. Dane Jackson. I know that they signed Dane Jackson.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Here's the next one. Big name. Matt Milano. Where is Matt Milano going, folks, in 2026? I don't think it's going to be the Bills.
It would, I think that ship has passed. You know, if Sean McDermott was still here, I could say maybe 50-50 because, like, Sean loves that guy. I'm going to say he is going to go to New England.
Alex Barber in a live chat agrees with you. I was just about to put that.
No, I'm actually agreeing with Alex because I saw him say that first. So I'm agreeing with you. I know you sent this to me. I don't have time to look at these before. Like,
I know, that's fine. You know, I like to spur the moment. All right, so Ralph Wilson says New England. Out and out. Says Carolina with Dan Morgan. That makes actual sense there. This is Tooch. Says hopefully not here. I don't think he's going to be here. And again, I have no reason to, other than just a gut feeling, but I actually said Miami. How would you feel if Matt Milano signed with Miami? Would you give a shit? Would you hold, like Poyer went to Miami, and I think that at least some Bills fans at the time had some hard feelings over that, which is dumb because the Bills cut him. It's not like he went there as a free agent. Matt Milano, I don't think the Bills are going to re-sign. No hostility if he goes to Miami, right?
No. I don't have any hostility for someone who leaves on their own accord. Like I understand if Bills fans has hostility towards Diggs because he wanted out of here, but it might be weird to see him in a Miami. I mean, he's been here for 9 years, but it's definitely time. Look, if you got Milano for cheap, like super cheap, yeah, sure. But like, I'm not.
Where would you not want to see him go if there was, again, I don't want to say taking it personal because why the fuck would we take something like that personal? Sure. But like, I hope he doesn't go to Baltimore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see
New England. I don't want him to go to New England, but I picked him there. Like, I agree. Look, those are the teams you got to watch out for now.
I agree.
New England. How do you feel, real quick? How do you feel about Baltimore getting Crosby? Like, that's a big.
It's a good question. I think that. I don't want to sound like a homer. I think 2 first rounds for him is too much because he's had injury. He hasn't been.
How much was Micah Parsons? Was it 2 or 3 for Micah Parsons?
They gave up 2 first rounders and more, and a player, and a good player. Yeah, I think Micah Parsons is on a different level. Like if I'm the Raiders and I could get 2 firsts from Max Crosby, and then I'm going to go say if they sign Trey Hendrickson this week, I feel like I really made out. I got 2 first rounders, and I'm got Trey Hendrickson for cheaper than Max Crosby. Crosby's a great player, don't get me wrong, but he ain't done shit against the Bills, by the way, historically. He's going to make their team better. I think 2 first-rounders is a lot. That's all I'm saying. I don't think he's Myles Garrett. I don't think he's a couple of the other guys. All right, who's next? Oh, here's another big name, or at least a popular one in Buffalo, Trey White.
I'm going to say Bengals.
Bengals?
Yeah, why not?
That's sensible. That's a good one.
Their defense is lousy. Why not?
I want to put this out there. I have been adamant in saying there's no chance that Trey White comes back to Buffalo. I was wrong. I think Trey White is in play to come back to the Buffalo Bills.
Why? Who told you?
That's what I've heard. I've heard. I'm not saying he's signing with the Bills. I'm telling you that I have heard that the Bills and Trey White are both open to a reunion. My understanding is Trey White's going to see what's out there, see if he can get a big contract. It's kind of like the DeMar Hamlin situation from last year. DeMar Hamlin was a free agent, and the Bills let him go out there and look. And ultimately, I mean, not to, diss him, but there was no market for DeMar Hamlin last year. He ended up re-signing with the Bills back cheap. Trey White's going to go out there and see what's out there. If he can get a good payday, maybe, I don't say a guarantee, but a more firm chance to be a starter. I think that maybe he would be with Buffalo. But I have heard that both sides are open. And if he were to resign, he probably would have a competition. I don't think Max Sears is just going to get handed a starting job. I still say, I said Green Bay. Bobby Babbage is in Green Bay. I can see Trey White following him.
Is Babbage the DC in Green Bay or no?
No, I think he's going to be the DB. He's the DB coach, which is what he was before he became DC too. So
no, Babbage was the linebacker coach, man.
He was the DB coach and then the linebacker coach.
Oh, okay.
And then the DC. He's pretty much coached the back seven. Anyway, I'm predicting Trey White's going to Green Bay, but what I'm saying is that all the times I've said on this show over the last month or so that there's no chance Trey White's coming back, that's not true. We'll see how it plays out. DaQuan Jones, I can tell you this, he's not coming back to the Bills. That's a divorce that's finalized. So, what do you got?
He'll go to Green Bay because of Bobby Babbage. There we go. I'll just steal that.
I got him going to the Titans. Anyone, I just think of the Titans for whatever reason.
Titans. I mean, you got to think. Yeah, I mean, he may not go anywhere. Who the hell knows? Practice squad somewhere.
Diamond Pickle in the live chat. I want to rewind real quick. It says Trey's not getting a big bag. That is crazy talk. He's not going to get a big bag. He'll get $3 to $4 million. I would predict somewhere, maybe a 1 or 2 year deal. I'm just don't sleep on him coming back to the Bills. I'm just saying. All right, DeMar Hamlin.
I'm gonna say, yeah, he's out of here. He's gonna go to the Jets. I
think he's gonna come back to Buffalo, and I'm not gonna love it.
Oh, God. Just leave the guy alone, man. Just because his dad hates you, you just leave the guy alone. Let the guy live. For God's sakes, he died, and then you're not letting him live. You're being a dick.
Cam Lewis, second last one. Cam Lewis.
Oh God, Cam Lewis. I'm gonna say Houston.
Houston?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's actually. I don't know why. That's the second time you've said Houston, where I'm like, that kind of feels
they
sensible.
Like defense down there, sure.
I got him coming back to Buffalo. Man, but again, I don't know. Is he a safety or a slot corner? He's versatile. He's a special team guy. I feel like he's a Brandon Beane kind of guy. So they're saying Green Bay or Minnesota in the live chat for Cam Lewis. I still think the Bills are going to bring him back. He's been here his whole career. He's a valuable asset. He'll make the team. Last one. Interesting one, too. Shaq Thompson, linebacker.
Ooh. I mean, look, I told you, I'm not saying the Bills because I've said in our predictions that no one was coming back. Which I'm already wrong because Conor McGovern's coming back. I'm gonna say Shaq goes. I think he's gonna get his bag somewhere, and I'm gonna say he's going to go to Denver.
Denver.
Yes.
I got Indy again. I no reason to say Indy. We didn't know. I envision it in my mind. And
lazy.
Ralph Wilson says Carolina Panthers. He'd be going back to Carolina. That's another guy. Well, no, actually, it was the other way around. Anyway, yeah, I don't know how many of these guys are going to be back. It'll be fun just to see if we nail these afterwards. So free agency starts, like, again, most people listening to this on Monday here, it starts today, or tampering anyway. Give me, you don't have to name a specific player, but I want you to give me an official guess or two on what the Bills are going to do starting Monday. Now, I got a nice little list. I'll share it a little more detailed probably than what you might have. But
No, I didn't have anything.
That's why I'm.
I
What
don't
do you
get
think the Bills are
paid.
going to do? What do you think the Bills are going to do? You don't have to give me
It's all
specifics. Are they going to
defense.
spend? Are they going to spend big on one position, or are they going to add a bunch of lower to mid tier guys? How do you think Brandon Beane is going to? He already made a big trade for DJ Moore. How do you think he's going to approach these next handful of weeks?
I think they're going to get.
Chime in too. Go ahead.
I think they're going to get a lot of modest defensive players. That aren't going to break the bank. They're going to have like upside. They'll claim upside. I think they need so many different parts on this defense, especially the front seven. Nick, you can't go big on one position, and be like, okay, it's not like Von Miller, like, okay, we're done. Like we got Oliver Russo, like it just doesn't, and that was it. It feels like it's gonna be a big thing. Like in terms of, I think they're gonna attack. I think defensive line. I think they're gonna find some the defensive line rotation of doom. Need some new guys up there, and they're going to let a lot of guys go, and they need guys that are going to fit the system. I know.
I was going to ask you, do you think they're going to sign another receiver in free agency before the draft?
No, I think they're done. And I think they'll draft maybe one in like the 5th or 6th round. I know Jeremy White's going to have a heart attack about it. They've been peckering him because I get it. Like you kind of want a cheaper salary there, but no, I think I feel Brandon Beane has always been a defensive guy, and that's what he wants. And he'll just say they were the fourth best scoring team last year, and blah blah blah. We need defense, and I understand his logic. I don't necessarily agree with that because I think you need to score a bunch of points to win, to advance into the Super Bowl. You want that's kind of it, but again.
There's not a lot of spots on the offense of roster.
Yeah, but also I think Moore's a very good player, and they need a guy like that. If they, you roll in with Cook. Your big three is Cook, Moore, and Josh Allen. That's a nice little triplets that they have there.
If the Bills, Joe, were to surprise you, it would certainly be a surprise to you based on what you just said. If the Bills were to surprise you and sign one of these wide receivers, Mike Evans, Romeo Doubs, Rashid Shaheed, maybe a couple of guys along those same lines. Maybe not quite as good as DJ Moore, but certainly good players to bigger contracts than we thought. You would obviously be tickled pink, surprised, right? You'd like to see them add another receiver. You don't think they're going to, but want them to, right?
I would like them to draft one, I would say, like in the 3rd or 4th round. I don't think they need to add another one because I think it's all about cost efficiency. Like I do think at this point, you don't know what you have. If you trade Keon Coleman, you believe it, I believe it. You have to have an heir apparent. That's not Terrell Shavers. Okay, sorry. Like I know you'll
I think Shavers is better than Keon Coleman. He's
sure,
hurt, though.
No, but I'm just saying, if you're trading him, you need an heir apparent, a young guy on like the 3rd, 4th round. That's where I would say that's what I would hope for, but I'm not going to kill them for it, because I think more Shakir is a nice 1-2 punch. Okay, and if you pray to God, you get Kincaid to be healthy, and you kind of you figure out your vertical passing. Like a lot of you talked about how is this McDermott telling I want a short passing game because we can't have turnover. You might be right, like you alluded to earlier in the draft and the thing. But the biggest key for me is your down the field passing needs to be better. That was an issue last year. It's been an issue the last 2 years if you want the God's honest truth.
There's a comment here from Out and Out. I don't know if you saw this. The Bills have the second highest paid wide receiver room in the NFL. Does that kind of blow your mind that this wide receiver room is not good and they're the second highest paid? That is a bad look.
It blows my mind, but it could be a little misleading because it is about cap numbers. So like, you know, some guys like they backload it and then like you get into the third year and this is when it's like huge and or whatever, like with some of these guys. But yeah, I mean, if you look at it that way, it's kind of insane. Because the next highest ones are the Bengals, who have two guys I would saw my right arm for in Higgins and Chase. You know, but yeah, it is pretty. I guess in a way, if you want to compliment Bean, you can't say he doesn't care because they've signed a bunch of guys. The problem is
He's
he
just
just
really
doesn't.
bad at identifying good
Well,
receivers.
it's
I
not
think that's
that.
fair. I think
It's
that's fair
I
to
think
say, by the way.
sure, I think that's fair to say, but it's also he doesn't draft well. He doesn't draft at all, and because you don't have that cheap. The point of look, I've always said if I'm building a football team, I would rather draft wide receivers and sign defensive linemen who are going into free agency after the rookie deal. Because I feel it takes longer for defensive linemen to adjust to the NFL, whereas wide receivers, they can come in and be really good right away. The years of like Eric Moulds needing 3 years to be good, I don't think that exists anymore. Ladd McConkey, there's so many rookies that you can think of that have come in that have done well, and there's not as many, in my opinion, as like rookie defensive linemen who come in and are like are bad out of hell. Like there's maybe one or two, but it's not the same. You don't get third rounders like the guy from the Rams, Puka, whatever the hell his name is.
Puka Nacua.
Yeah, stud wide receiver,
Fifth
and then
round
all
pick.
fifth round pick, stud right away, like insane. Like you don't find a fifth round rookie that's gonna at defensive line that's gonna be a stud right away. Maybe you find him like he becomes a stud, like Kyle Williams is a fifth rounder, but it took Kyle Williams like 4 years to be really good, you know, and that's how I would do it. But I think that's the issue with
I,
Bean. And I'll say this real quick, and I'm sorry to cut you off because
no,
that's
you're
my
not.
job. No, I'm not. You're right, but I know you had a tip. But I want to say this is for DJ Moore. This is big for Josh Allen, Joe Brady, because their reputation, especially Joe Brady, has been what we talked about. This is the Joe Brady has killed wide receivers coming here, and that's also on Josh Allen, because the last time Josh Allen had great chemistry with a new guy who came here from like a different place besides Shakir was Stephon Diggs. Like he didn't have chemistry with Deontay Harris. He didn't have chemistry with Sherfield. Nothing, you know, he didn't have chemistry with, you know, Jamison Crowder. And then like this past year, Josh Palmer, Curtis Samuel. It's a lot. So it's on both of them to get off that snide with Moore.
Oh,
Because if Moore comes in with 600 yards and he plays all 16 games, I'm going to fucking throw this light right here against the fucking wall because I'm going to be livid.
I will. Back to the original point that you were talking about with drafting wide receivers and signing
No
veteran
selling me. Go ahead.
defensive linemen. That to me is more of a even bad look on Brandon Beane because drafting's always a crapshoot. Like you don't know what Keon Coleman's going to be. You don't know what Ladd McConkey's going to be for sure. You don't know what Khalil Shakir is going to be in the fifth round. But Brandon Beane has consistently spent money on veterans who've been in the league for 2, 3, 4, 5 years that he's brought in over the last handful of years. Guys, like I've said, he traded for Amari Cooper, signing Matt Collins, signing Curtis Samuel, signing Josh Palmer, signing MVS, signing Chase Claypool, signing a lot of these veterans that you should have a personnel idea of what their talent level is and what they should be able to bring. Because there is no crapshoot. These are veterans that you're signing. I just think Brandon Beane has been awful at identifying good wide receivers, essentially since drafting Khalil Shakir. That's probably the last really good wide receiver move he's made. And there's been a lot of moves, but they're not good ones.
Yeah, and that's on him. And like as I alluded to before, it's also on the OC. And Josh Allen has to develop some chemistry with these guys. Like he really does. Like I'm sorry, but like I don't like Josh Allen's an all-time great. You and I agree with that. But you know, you want to be compared to all-time greats. Like Tom Brady was a guy who made, you know, Wes Welker into a household name, who was like a nobody, or all these other guys. Like these elite guys will take these mid wide receivers and make them good. I'm not saying that. And look, I'm not saying I want Josh Allen like to only get mid to bleh wide receiver. I want him to get studs. But it would be nice if like he gets a guy and does what he did with Cole Beasley or with John Brown
Sure.
or even Stephon Diggs. And it's been 7 years since we've had that. And like
Yeah.
he's a smaller part of it, but he's a part of it. Like he's got to get the chemistry down and then I don't know, fucking go work out at the high school like they used to do and like in April. Don't go golfing. No, you can golf, but like fucking do some routes somewhere illegally. I don't know. Go to fucking Hawaii and play in the beaches like Apollo and Rocky did. And swim down the
I
fucking
always
pool.
reference that scene. That's one of my favorite scenes of all time. Matt Perino, by the way, on the Terron Johnson trade, he's got a good take. Mafia Matt. The Terron Johnson trade to Vegas makes a ton of sense considering Bills linebackers coach Al Holcomb landed with the Raiders. Clint Kubiak is looking for solid leadership on both sides of the ball, and I'm not sure you'll do better than Terron Johnson. That's an excellent take from Matt.
That amazing take by Mafia Man. My God, we should have led with the show with that instead of hockey. Can we go back to hockey? I mean, we're at 90 minutes.
You're such a dork.
I'm such a hater. I know.
Look, you're not a hater. You're a dork.
Yeah, we're done. It's 90 minutes.
No, I'm not done. I'm not done because I want to
stay here more. Oh,
Jesus Christ. Man. Well, if you didn't keep interrupting me, we'd be done. However, free agency is starting literally today. People are going to listen to this at lunch, and shit's going to start happening. I just got a couple quick predictions here. 2 Denver guys, Alex Highsmith or Singleton. By the way, Matt Warren put up a tweet about Alex Singleton. He's a linebacker. Matt Rich Warren the 7th, woke Rich Warren the 7th. He put up a tweet about Alex Singleton. And someone mentioned you would have a comment or a negative comment about Singleton. I said, Joe, my prediction is Joe from Queens has never heard of Alex Singleton. He's a 33-year-old linebacker from Denver. Anyway, I think he's going to come to the Bills. PJ Locke, their safety, too. A couple Denver guys are going to come here. Reed Blankenship is a safety I'd like to see the Bills take a long look at. I think they need to get at least one starting caliber veteran defensive lineman. Like you got Oliver, you got Walker. I don't love Sanders. Like DJ Reader or Calais Campbell, even though he's 76 years old, I think he'd still be a nice addition to this team. Asante Samuel Jr. is a corner a lot of people have heard of. I think he could be a good nickel corner. He was hurt last year, but then he joined Pittsburgh late in the year. But throw a wide receiver that most people don't even know. He had Tyquan Thornton. He's a Chiefs guy. Buried on the depth chart, but he's a deep guy. He can get deep. I wouldn't rule out Brandon Cooks' return. I forgot about him. Where does Brandon Cooks go? I forgot to play him in our game. Don't say Buffalo.
Why do you hate him a lot? Because he dropped
because he drops the fucking football. That's why you trade for DJ Moore so you don't get Brandon Cooks in the playoffs. I don't know where
Cooks is going to go. I mean, he'll probably go
Patriots.
No, maybe. I mean, they had him before a long time ago. He played for everyone. I'm going to go with Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Yeah, why not?
All right,
give
good. Let him go there.
Lamar a veteran. Why not? He's going to go. I don't think he's going to
catch
go
everything too. He'll have like 80 catches and he won't have a drop all year long, man. I got 2 surprise Bills free agent signings for you. One of them's not even a free agent yet. He's going to get cut though.
Mm-hmm.
QB2 for the Buffalo Bills this year, I predict Justin Fields from the Jets. I think he's going to get cut. I think he'd be a good fit for QB2 in Buffalo. Maybe even have a package or a player or two designed for him. So I think Justin Fields is going to be the quarterback. And you know how you love former Bills? Here's a wide receiver name for the room. I know this will excite you too. Isaiah Hodgins. You like him, don't you? Like that, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I remember you and the content bros were all like, this guy's got the training camp of his life. And then he went to the Giants and had like a good week, and you guys were like, see, we told you. And then he's dead. I haven't heard of him. I thought he retired and went to the Rocks League. No, I'm good with that. And no, I don't want Justin Fields either. Look, I'm done with paying veterans to be the backup. Draft a guy in the 7th round.
They don't got the luxury, I don't think. You're going to have a 7th round QB too?
Yeah, so what? Look, if Josh Allen dies or he gets hurt, the season's over. No matter what.
What if he misses 2 to 3 games, though?
Justin Fields package. What are you, fucking drunk?
I like Justin
You're going to put I mean, he's not good, but like you're gonna take the best player on the league and you put Justin Fields in there to do a fucking quarterback sneak? What are you,
By the way, quarterback
I forgot
market,
all those times with John Elway and they took him out to put Tommy Maddox in.
Quarterback market's going to be interesting, by the way, around the league. Malik Willis, Kyler Murray, Geno Smith, probably Tua real soon. These guys are all going to be looking for jobs. What would you think if the Bills signed Tua? It's not going to happen, but
no, it's not happening. Stop it. You see this? You wanted me. I wanted to leave. We should have. We kicked out like. We should have went home 5 minutes ago. We had them in the palm of my hands. And you want to do 3 Stone Cold Stunners in a row, and everyone's tired now. You're talking about Justin fucking Fields and a package, and now you're asking me about Tua? No, I don't want any of these. Can we go back?
I got one more question for you.
God. Yeah.
You like
Right.
to tell me that Sydney Sweeney is just all right,
Yes.
which is one of the dumbest takes in the history
Overrated.
of human
Sorry.
beings. Overrated. And then you send me pictures of other hot chicks, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. One of them is Jessica Alba, and that was why I was real close. I'm like, Jessica Alba is fine.
Yeah, she's
44 years old. She is fine as hell. Did you hear about who she's dating now?
No, I know she got a divorce. Who she did? Which wrestler? Is it a
Not
wrestler?
which wrestler, which NFL quarterback. Which NFL
Oh, wow.
quarterback is now dating, reportedly,
Oh, wow.
rumored
I'm
to be
interested.
dating Jessica
All right. Okay,
Alba?
I got to think. Not Tom. No. Okay, so he's current, correct?
He is a current NFL
And
quarterback.
he's starting.
He is starting.
Okay,
Yes.
he's starting.
Starting quarterback.
Okay.
NFL is
I'm gonna guess.
reportedly
Okay,
now
so
with
she's
Jessica.
okay. She's a California mostly, so I'm gonna guess it's a California quarterback.
Nope.
Okay. Ooh, interesting. I'm gonna say okay, Baker
This is
Mayfield.
no, not Baker Mayfield. This is Tucha's Jackson Dart, not Jackson Dart. Dude, Jackson Dart's like 14 years old. And fucking Jessica Alba's dating him. Although Jessica's old, man. Hot, but all right. Somebody in the live chat.
Ooh, because this guy's gonna be my favorite quarterback of
Is
all time.
Joey Burrow. Joey
Wow.
Burrow is reportedly now dating Jessica Alba. Stock report risen really fucking high.
Wow.
Joey
Him and Josh
Burrow.
Allen are dueling out for the best quarterbacks in the league right now, like on and off the field. Good for you guys.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
good for him.
That's
Good for
awesome.
Joe Burrow.
All right.
Congrats, man.
All right, guys. Now
Idle
we're
Hands,
finally-
she was hot in. I was 18 years old and she was hot when I saw her in Idle Hands. And I'm like, that girl's a star.
She is
And I should have been a
incredible.
talent.
She's
Yes.
amazing looking. She's 44 years old. She's seems really cool too, man.
All right. Go rub one out,
Anyway,
okay?
all right.
Take it easy.
So I almost
Okay.
want to just invent topics just to keep you here for another 5 minutes if it's possible.
Can I just go back to the Sabres for 4 minutes, okay? Like, I feel like first off, two things. One, what are we at? 2,500 probably for the live chat now or something like that?
Almost 2,300, man. Yeah.
You're definitely going to start doing post game shows for the Sabres afterwards. You're going to get Dick in
I
the
have
box.
been.
But you're going to get more people. You're going to get Dick in the box. You got to get Chad. You might have to send Tone Pucks a bottle of something to get him back in your good graces.
What?
What? Or vice versa. I don't know. Whatever the heck it is. You may Yurden live from the press box. Get Yurden on here. Why don't you get Yurden as a live post show, like from the press box, Joe Yurden? But no, I wanted to just say about the Sabres real quick. Like, good for guys that have, and we didn't talk about this, who have been there for like years. Like
I literally
Deline.
talked about that. You just
When did you talk about
you
that?
completely tuned me out.
What was that earlier? You talked about Tage and Deline and
Yeah,
like
literally. You go back and listen to
Okay.
this. I said literally Tage and Talk and
No,
Rasmus.
but I'm more articulate with the feels. You're just like stealing. You probably heard that from someone else. You stole it
That's
from
reasonable.
From Vampire Fairburn or Dracula Fairburn.
Dracula Fairburn.
Dude, they had their podcast at 5 a.m. So
That is
he's
wild.
Dracula
They get up
Fairburn.
early, and they do get up early as hell. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah. All right. Can we diving pick up? Mr. Tomei's hot too. Yes. Congrats to her. She's been GOAT status since what, like 91 with my cousin Vinny. Yes.
I do want to end this by the way we started out, though, and just saying this seriously. Again, we're recording this live Sunday night. That game was that was a magical game, man. And they were, by the way, I don't know how much you got to watch of the actual game. They were trying to kill Rasmus Dahlin. I mean, they were doing him dirty. They were going after them all game long. The Sabres, look, they didn't. Tampa fans are going to talk shit because the Sabres fans would lose, or the Sabres would lose. They lost all the fights except for Malenstein. He tagged Corey Perry. He got the better of him. But for the most part, they lost the fights. But it's not about winning or losing the fights. It's about the way they were just sticking up for each other. And just, I don't know, there's just a different energy with this team now. And I can't, I'm stunned. I just can't believe what I'm seeing, man. I just can't believe it.
I definitely have a feel of like, I've been missing out. Like I said, I really wanted to commit myself after the Olympic break. And I know they've been hot since like December, basically. And like, I'm thinking to myself, man, I really should have like started trying to watch this in December. And it wasn't out of like, oh, I hate these guys. It was mostly, like I've told you before, our kids, screen time, me and the missus got to watch, I don't know, fucking one of our shows. and I'm like, I'll watch highlights later. But man, like tonight was fun. And that's something, as you said, if we were at the arena, it would have been incredible. And, warrior like effort from those guys, like coming back, fighting. I love the one scene where Peyton Krebs like comes in the penalty box and like he puts his hand around Deline in like the first fight of the game, and he's like gives him a little pet, like "Good job, Captain."
Yeah.
Like that. That's like those little things. That's the beauty about hockey. Sometimes like those little things, like sticking up for your teammate. That matters more in that sport than any other sport.
Imagine how much this team must have really hated Kevin Adams, because they were zombies and they get wind that he's going to get fired, and now they're literally, dude, the Sabres are 28-5-2 in their last 35 games. 28-5-2. That's crazy. Let's
wrap it up.
All right, let's put a wrap on that.
The hot take sound is outside, or just went out.
Thank you so much for everybody who's tuned in live. Again, on the video side, that's awesome to see. Hopefully everyone's listening to this sometime on Monday. Last thing I'm going to say, too, I don't know what my schedule is going to be like this week. It's kind of fucked up. I'm going to be live for sure Monday night, as late as possible, probably 9 p.m., because we'll have a lot to talk about, whatever happens with the first day of tampering. Tuesday, I'm going to record, as always, with Matt Warren, but we're going to be recording at night so we can keep that as current. And then I'm going to Florida Wednesday, and I'm going to be there for 5 or 6 days. I'm going to try to.
I'm not on next week, right? I'm gone. Right?
I was going to talk to you about that, not Sunday night, but maybe we'll do something Monday night next week. Well, we'll see. But anyway, subscribe. I just ask everyone to subscribe if you're watching on the video. So make sure you subscribe so you know when episodes are coming, or follow on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm going to have a show every day like normal. I just don't know where and when it's going to be coming from.
Okay, let me promote my stuff too. My Substack. What's my Substack called again? Joe from
Queens.substack.com. I got to make a graphic for that.
Yes, I will be dropping my what the hell did I call it again? Bill's Takes and Dad Mistakes Volume 3. I will be dropping tomorrow morning at around like 10-ish or 11-ish or so. I'll definitely, I've been adding stuff to it. I'm trying to get the vibe of like what Peter King used to do with his Monday morning quarterback, where he had a bunch of shit and then some random shit that had nothing to do with it. That's the worst graphic you ever came up with in my life.
I literally just put it together an hour and 42 minutes.
What is that? That's terrible. Just take that shit off. What is that?
Well, people can see it. Joe from Queens.substack.com.
Thank you. That's really, you could, they just heard you say that. Couldn't you like put my ugly face on it or something like that? Anyways.
I'll be
I'll be dropping it tomorrow, but it's, I'm stealing like Peter King's gimmick of like around the world, around the football world. And then like some random shit about like, he used to have Starbucks stuff. And, that's what I'm having, like stuff about my kid. Like tomorrow's lead story is actually about me and my son playing soccer, him playing soccer and like how he's done. And then I have other stuff about football related stuff, and
little disappointed with your IG and Facebook game lately when it comes to your son. You haven't had a good temper tantrum pick or anything like that in a while.
I was supposed to put a food one up today because he was eating ice cream at the zoo. But yeah, it's been. I'm sorry. I know you like the meltdowns, but that's it.
I do. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, for listening. I will be back sometime live on Monday night, so stay tuned. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.